There are mornings when you wake up, determined to focus on your day, ready to push forward. But out of nowhere, without warning, his face flashes through your mind, like a scene you didn't ask to replay. You don't know why. He's not calling, not texting. In fact, he's been gone for a long time. And yet, it feels like a part of him is squatting in some corner of your mind, refusing to leave. It's not just a memory. It's an invisible thread, humming faintly in the background, even without contact, even without presence. And that's when the questions start creeping in. Is this just nostalgia messing with me? Or is he feeling it too? Is the universe trying to send me a sign? Or am I simply stuck, unable to move on, no matter how much I try to convince myself I have? If you're in this space right now, hear me. You're not crazy. You're human. And there's a reason for this pull, one that's not about superstition, but about how your mind, your energy, and your heart work together in ways you probably weren't taught to understand. The truth is, what you're experiencing could be a mixture of emotional wiring, energetic residue, and even unconscious habits that your body has grown addicted to. The good news? You can flip this dynamic. You can take what feels like a haunting and turn it into clarity and power. Here's the raw truth. Straight, no sugarcoating. The more you feed a thought, the more power it has over you. And according to Carl Jung, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if you're thinking about him every day, even in his absence, you're pouring energy into that connection. Maybe not intentionally, but habitually. And energy is never neutral. It vibrates. It creates. It attracts. Sometimes, when two people have shared an intense bond, the energy exchange can linger in silence, almost like an echo. You might even feel as though he's thinking of you too, because in some cases, he is. But here's the part you need to hear. Feeling that pull doesn't automatically mean you're destined to be together. It could just mean you haven't yet healed the space he used to fill. Most people confuse emotional attachment with intuition. They mistake intensity for destiny. But sometimes, that intensity is nothing more than your mind chasing familiarity, the comfort of what it already knows, even if what it knows once hurt you. Your brain is wired to cling to the familiar because the unknown feels unsafe. That's why you can get stuck on someone who isn't even good for you, because your body isn't addicted to them. It's addicted to the chemical rush your brain associates with them. This is where you have to get brutally honest with yourself. Are you holding on because he's the one? Or because your nervous system doesn't yet know how to live without the emotional roller coaster he provided? There's a difference between manifesting and clinging. Manifesting is light, intentional, rooted in trust. Clinging is heavy, repetitive, and fueled by fear. One opens you up to something new. The other keeps you locked in a loop that slowly erodes your spirit. Carl Jung pointed out that our thoughts trigger emotions, and those emotions create a physical chemistry in our bodies, a cocktail we can become hooked on without realizing it, which means you could be hooked on the feeling he gave you, not on the man himself. And if that's the case, then breaking the cycle isn't about forgetting him. It's about retraining your mind and body to crave something healthier. So here's the first shift. Stop asking, is he thinking about me? Start asking, how do I feel when I think about him? Does that thought make you feel expansive and grounded, or does it drain you? Does it inspire hope and peace, or does it stir anxiety and longing? The universe isn't responding to your wish list. It's responding to your emotional frequency. You can't attract a safe, solid love while vibrating with the fear of being abandoned. You can't call in respect while sitting in the energy of needing to be chosen. The law of attraction isn't about forcing reality to match your fantasies. It's about aligning who you are with what you want to experience. That means you start becoming the version of yourself who already feels loved, respected, and secure. Right now, before anyone else shows up to give it to you. Imagine a relationship where you feel free to be fully yourself. Don't give it his face. Don't tie it to his name. Just let your body taste what it feels like to be loved in that way. Because when your body learns a new emotional language, it stops craving the old one. And when you start vibrating with the frequency of self-worth and peace, you naturally attract what matches it. Sometimes that means he'll rise to meet you at that level. Other times it means he'll fade, clearing space for someone better aligned with the woman you've become. Either way, you win, because you're no longer dependent on whether he comes back to feel whole. The truth is, most of the time, we're not longing for the person. We're longing for the way we wanted to be loved by that person. But when you finally understand that, you stop searching for it in them, and you start creating it in yourself. That's when the game changes. That's when you stop orbiting someone else's gravity and start becoming your own sun. People always want to know, but does he think about me too? It's such a human question. Because when you've felt a deep connection with someone, even if it's been silent for months or years, there's this almost supernatural sense that they must feel it too. And sometimes, yes, energy does echo between two people. You might dream about him out of nowhere. A song you haven't heard in years suddenly plays, and it feels like it's speaking directly to your history together. You get that weird rush, almost like he's right there, even if he's hundreds of miles away. Those moments can be real, but they can also be your own mind, scanning the world for proof that something unfinished still exists. Here's the hard truth. Knowing whether he's thinking of you changes nothing about your present reality. It doesn't make him show up. It doesn't make him call. It doesn't make him act like the man you need him to be. So instead of chasing signs, you shift the question. Not, is he thinking of me? But how do I feel when I think of him? Does the thought give you strength or take it away? Does it make you feel grounded or hollow? Because the universe doesn't hand you what you hope for. It mirrors what you are. And if you're living in a constant state of uncertainty, waiting for confirmation from him, you're already giving your power away. Real connection doesn't feel like desperation. It doesn't leave you anxious and restless. It doesn't make you feel like you need to decode invisible clues to know where you stand. Real connection feels calm. It's safe. It's obvious. You never have to beg for clarity from the right person. And if you're realizing now that this pull you feel might be more about you than about him, then you're already halfway to freedom. Because understanding it logically is one thing, but your heart doesn't work like a light switch. You can't just turn it off. You can, however, redirect it. Here's the key. What you feel, whether it's longing, pain, confusion, or even desire, is energy. And energy has to move somewhere. If you try to bury it, it turns into a block. If you channel it, it becomes fuel. So instead of fighting what you feel, sit with it. Name it. Don't label yourself weak for still caring. Feeling deeply isn't the problem. It's how you use that feeling that decides whether it destroys you or transforms you. One of the simplest but most powerful things you can do is write. Take a notebook and spill every unfiltered word you wish you could say to him. Don't edit. Don't hold back. And don't send it. This isn't about him. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of unspoken thoughts. Sometimes you need to hear your own truth in order to finally understand it. The next step is to stop spending all your emotional energy on him and start investing it in you. Ask yourself, what am I really needing right now? What am I craving that I keep imagining he could give me? What am I projecting onto his absence? Those questions are uncomfortable, but they're where your freedom begins. When you turn that focus inward, something shifts. You start nourishing your own energy instead of waiting for someone else to feed it. You start reclaiming your glow, your peace, your presence. And the stronger you get within yourself, the less you need anyone else to complete you. A simple but powerful practice. Before you fall asleep, picture yourself in a chapter of life where you are genuinely happy. Not because he came back, but because you've built something so rich, so alive, so full on your own, that love becomes the icing, not the cake. See yourself laughing with the right people. See yourself in spaces that feel safe and light. Let your body feel now what it will feel like then. That's how you reprogram your vibration without forcing it, by giving yourself a taste of the life you want, long before it arrives. Does that mean the feelings will disappear overnight? No. But it changes the way those feelings move through you. They stop stabbing you in the same place, over and over. They start guiding you towards something bigger than the chapter you've been replaying. And here's something important. Don't try to fake positivity every day. That's not strength. That's denial. You're allowed to have hard days. You're allowed to miss him. But you don't have to live from that place. Feel it, honor it, and then move. The power is in the moving. And here's where it gets interesting. Because when you start reconnecting with yourself, your energy changes. Without even trying, you become magnetic again. Not in a forced attention-seeking way, but in that way where you walk into a room and people feel you without you saying a word. You're not chasing. You're not proving. You're simply radiating something rare. Self-possession. That's real seduction, not the games. Not oversharing to get his attention, not exhausting yourself trying to prove your worth. True seduction happens in the invisible, when your energy says, I know exactly who I am, and I'm not afraid to stand in it. If you want simple but powerful advice, protect your energy like it's your most valuable possession. Because it is. Nothing is more beautiful than a woman who feels good in her own skin. Second, leave room for mystery. Not everything needs to be told, posted, or explained. The less you hand over for free, the more someone has to invest to know you. Third, carry presence, not need. When you show up light, open, and without desperation, you stand out, because most people are too busy trying to get something from someone else. And when it comes to figuring out how much he really cares, forget the words. Watch the actions. If a man wants you, he won't confuse you. He won't vanish for days. He won't leave you guessing where you stand. He'll move closer. Because that's what men do when they actually want to be there. Real love doesn't require chasing. It fits. And if it doesn't fit, that's not your loss. It's the universe clearing the path for something better. In the end, everything comes down to a choice. Your choice. Not his, not fate's. Yours. Because the moment you stop waiting for someone else to hand you clarity, and you start listening to yourself with brutal honesty, something becomes very clear. What you've been missing was never him. It was you, showing up for you. It was your own gaze, turning inward instead of outward. It was your self-worth, sitting there quietly, waiting for you to pick it up again. And here's the thing. There's nothing more magnetic, nothing more untouchable than a woman who chooses herself. A woman who can acknowledge a connection without drowning in it. A woman who can love deeply without abandoning herself in the process. A woman who can miss someone, but still keep walking forward with her head up. That woman doesn't chase attention. She attracts it. She doesn't wait to be chosen. She does the choosing. She doesn't hope to be noticed. She shines so unapologetically that the right people can't help but notice. When you decide to choose yourself, the entire frequency of your life changes. People who don't match your energy start drifting away, not because you push them, but because they can't breathe in the altitude you're living at now. Heavy situations lose their grip on you. The weight of the past begins to dissolve, not because you forgot, but because something stronger has taken over. Your presence, your awareness, your decision to write a new story. And here's the most liberating part. You don't need proof that the right love will come. You don't need a cosmic sign. You don't need to stalk his social media for hidden messages. You just need one unwavering decision to never abandon yourself again. Because every time you honor your own feelings, every time you choose to handle a hard day without betraying yourself, every time you move forward even when it's tempting to go back, you make space for something real to enter your life. And if he's truly meant to be in your story, he'll come back. But it won't be because you sat still, waiting for the door to open. It'll be because you moved forward so fully, so authentically, that the universe had no choice but to bring alignment back to you. And if it's not him, then it'll be someone who sees you the first time, someone already walking at your pace, breathing at your rhythm, matching the level of devotion you've learned to give yourself. That's the thing. This was never about him. It's about you. Because when you honor yourself, everything in your reality shifts. Your relationships change. Your environment changes. The way you move through the world changes. And you start to see the truth. You were never waiting for someone to save you. You were always waiting for yourself. And once you're standing in that space, there's a calm confidence that settles in. You're not afraid of being alone because you're not actually alone. You've got yourself in a way you never did before. And when you live like that, you stop attracting people who feed on your insecurities, and you start attracting people who are inspired by your wholeness. The real magic isn't in controlling anyone else. It's in becoming so whole, so solid in yourself, that the only energy capable of coming close is energy that matches your depth. That's real freedom. Not needing anyone to survive, but being fully open to sharing your life with someone who deserves the seat next to you. Not clinging out of fear, but choosing out of strength. Not letting your value fluctuate based on someone else's interest level, but holding it steady because it's yours, not theirs. So if you find yourself lying awake at night, thinking about him yet again, here's what I want you to do. Stop asking why he's not here. Start asking why you're giving so much mental real estate to someone who isn't showing up. And then, with as much compassion as you can muster for yourself, start shifting that energy back where it belongs, to you. Because your life isn't waiting for him to come back. Your life is happening right now. Every single day you choose yourself is a day you get stronger, clearer, and more magnetic to the kind of love that will actually last. And that's when the game changes. Because once you truly understand your worth, not just in your head, but in your bones, you stop chasing, you stop doubting, and you start living in a way that makes the wrong people disappear and the right ones appear effortlessly. That's not a dream. That's not a cliche. That's what happens when you stop letting your heart be a waiting room for someone else's indecision and start turning it into a home for your own certainty. The truth? You are not hard to love. You were just offering your love to people who weren't ready to hold it. And when you stop doing that, when you stop trying to convince someone to choose you, you'll realize they were never the point. The point was always you. Picture this. Months from now, you're walking into a room. Sunlight spilling across your skin. Laughter resting easily in your chest. You feel light. Not because life is perfect, but because you no longer carry the weight of someone else's absence like a chain around your neck. You're not scanning the room for him. You're not measuring your worth by whether he reaches out. You're living fully. And if, by some twist of fate, he's there, if your eyes meet, you won't feel that ache in your stomach anymore. You'll feel calm. You'll know that you've already survived the version of you that thought you couldn't breathe without him. You've already rebuilt yourself in the quiet. You've already proven to yourself that your life isn't a waiting room. That's the real plot twist, when you finally stop needing the closure you thought only he could give you. You create the kind of life that closes the chapter all on its own. Because here's what no one tells you. Sometimes the closure is you waking up one morning, realizing you didn't think about him for the first time in months, and it felt normal. Sometimes it's laughing so hard with new people that you forget the sound of his voice. Sometimes it's looking in the mirror and thinking, damn, I'm proud of her. And it's in that space where your happiness is self-generated that you become untouchable. Not because you've built walls, but because you've built roots. When you live like that, love stops being a hunt and becomes an invitation. You're not out here trying to convince someone to see your value. You're simply living in it. And the right people, the right love, the right opportunities, they can't help but find you. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. This, right here, is you making it conscious. This is you taking the wheel back from the old patterns, the old addictions, the old echoes. This is you refusing to let your life be a rerun of a story you've already lived. So the next time his face drifts into your thoughts, don't panic, don't spiral. Just ask yourself, what do I want to feel right now? And how can I give that to myself without waiting for anyone else to deliver it? Because every time you do that, you are reprogramming your energy. You are rewriting the story. You are stepping further into the version of you who doesn't just attract love, she commands it without begging, without performing, without losing herself in the process. And here's the secret no one wants to believe until they live it. The second you stop centering someone who isn't showing up, you start centering yourself. And when you center yourself, your entire reality changes. Not in a manifest it and it magically appears way, but in a grounded, real-world way, where your decisions, your boundaries, and your presence filter out the people who don't belong. So if he comes back, you'll decide if he fits into the life you've built, not the other way around. And if he doesn't, you'll already be standing in a life so rich, so aligned, that losing him won't feel like loss at all. This is your turning point. This is where the chapter shifts. This is where you stop waiting for someone to save you and start realizing you've been holding the pen this whole damn time. And when you live from that truth, when you walk through the world with that kind of self-respect, something incredible happens. You stop fearing the silence because you know you are the loudest, brightest thing in your own life. That's not ego. That's freedom. And freedom, my love, looks damn good on you.